All right, everybody. I cried during this episode. There's some impactful stuff that happens in episode 6. Um yeah, we got stuff to talk about today, guys. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, pause, go watch, come back, dive in. I don't do spoiler free, so just understand that everything from here on out, I gotta spoil everything. Um, it's war is here, guys. Like the fall of a region is not good, but it's a necessary story in the step to Sauron's eventual capture at the hands of the Númenóreans. And also, I'm understanding a little bit more now about um, Galadriel's. I think I'm understanding a little bit more about Galadriel's arc. Um, because and it's been a while since but I'm pretty sure after the fall of Eregion, and somebody who's a Tolkien, more well versed on it than I am can respond in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure, excuse me, after the fall of Eregion is when Galadriel goes off to Lothlorien, and if I remember correctly, again, it's been a long time. I think this was when Celeborn remained behind. I may be getting my timelines confused. We still haven't seen the reveal of Celeborn in Rings of Power yet. But we know he exists because she did mention him. Um, and yeah, we got to see where it all goes. But it's war. War is here. Let's see. I don't do show notes, so let's first and foremost talk about Numenor, and then we'll come back. Because the dwarven stuff was awesome. I cried at that one scene where Prince Durin realizes what he has to do. Oh man, it's epic. Anyway, Numenor. So this whole episode is Elendil has been, called to trial, accused of treason against the High King Pharazôn. He deserves to be put to death, but they'll spare him if he, says that, he swears fealty to Al-Pharazôn, and he won't. So they throw him in jail. And his daughter was trying to save him in her own twisted way. She's like, "No, Daddy, please just kneel." She even gets the queen to come down, and she begs him to kneel, and he's like, "I cannot. My integrity won't let me." And the new High King and his counselors decided that if he wants to live by the ways of the Valar, then he can die by the ways of the Valar. We're gonna throw him to the beast, and so there's a big sea beast, trial by sea, and he's all for this. And when the queen comes down, well, Elendil is all for this because when the queen comes down and begs him, he's like, "No, the Valar will prove that I am worthy. If I am meant to continue on, then the sea beast will not eat me. The Valar will show that I'm worthy." They go to do the trial. Um, the queen comes in and says, "By law, I am allowed to take his place because of these reasons." They agree. The queen goes in. Alferozone is like, "Hell yeah, the bitch queen's gone." Uh, and this is what I did not expect. The sea beast comes. There is a big scene where she's underwater, and it scans her, projects at her. It's searching her soul, looking within her. This is a beast of the great deeps and under the Valar, and it finds her worthy and spits her back out. And the whole crowd is like, the Sea Queen," and all Pharazôn is over there just going, "I never said that meme." This is when he knew he fucked up because he's like, "Oh no, this is all turned horribly wrong." And then he goes and digs into the Palantir and sees a whole range of images, including Halbrand as Sauron. And yeah, um, the dwarves. Obviously, King Durin has lost his mind with the ring, um, and Prince Durin sees it. And there's this scene where in Eregion, Celebrimbor they run out of Mithril, and Celebrimbor continues to lose his mind. Can't remember the name of his. He can't. Neither can I. Melindria or something. But he comes. There's a scene where he cannot remember the name of his blonde-haired assistant, and in front of everyone, he's just so broken. and so consumed by the ring craft, and he's got all of these people, and they're like, "You're being very irritable, sir, and you're losing, you know, yourself in this nine rings obsession." And then he can't remember her name, and he just basically tells Sauron, "You take care of everything. I'm gonna focus on this." And so Sauron goes out and proceeds to manipulate all of the elves, and he's now the administrator of Eregion because Celebrimbor has locked himself in the tower, and he needs to be left alone, is what Sauron tells him. He needs to. We have to pray for him because he either needs to finish these rings or they're gonna finish him. And but they're out of Mithril, so he goes personally to talk to King Durin about more mithril and offers him timber to expand the mines, everything else. And this is in front of the prince, and the king refuses him. But and Durin at first thinks, "Oh, my dad has seen the light," and he's like, "No, no, no, no. They'll be back. They'll be back, and we can name our price because the army that has mithril armor and mithril weapons will be unstoppable, and we hold the keys to that kingdom. Dig deeper, son." And Sauron accepts this as he's negotiating with King Durin. He looks over into the flame when the king tells him no, and he sees the Balrog in the flame, like shadows and flame, and he just kind of smiles to himself because he knows that he has now provoked what he hoped for, which is to provoke the dwarves to dig deep and wake the beast, which we've already seen. I told you all this. There was some people who were like, "Oh, it's the Watcher in the water." I said, "No, it's not." They showed the Balrog in the preview trailers, the roar in last episode that set the waters trembling throughout the deeps of Khazad-dûm. That was the Balrog. When we get the Balrog again here, so this is all, yeah, it's coming. Um, so Prince Durin sees this and realizes that they're gonna have to take his father out, because otherwise the dwarves are gonna fall into complete ruin. Now they don't know anything about the Balrog yet, but dig too greedily, dig too deep. Um, so they decide to do what they have to do to keep the dwarves from mining any deeper. And this leads to the one scene where I was like, this is kind of cheesy, but okay, I'm going to roll with it. Disa calls down bats with her voice. And I just kind of was like, it's the. And I know some people out there, "See, I told you Disa was stupid." No, no, this is the same as like when Legolas slides down the stairs on the shield in the Two Towers, right? Or when he slides down the trunk of the elephant in The Return of the King in Peter Jackson's films. This is a Hollywood moment that I'm not a big fan of, but I appreciate that it's there for the kids and for the people who are going to get enjoyment out of it. But I just was like, that's kind of cringe, but okay, I'll roll with it. Because she screams and like calls down bats and sends the miners scurrying. And of course, they're going to be back with more. And Durin's like, we'll defend this mine shaft against them. Um, the biggest and there is a scene here. This is the scene where I cried. Um, when Durin is realizing that he has to take his father out, and he tells DC, he's like, "I can't help it. When I look inside him, I see in his eyes, I can see my father. He's in there, somewhere deep down. He's in there. I can see him. He's reaching out, you know." And he's like, he can still see his father down at the deep, deep, deep pit that he's in, looking back out, like, "I'm here, son." But the ring and Sauron have him completely. This scene in the chamber when Prince Durin tries to take the ring from his father, and he's like, and the ring like emits this power and like blows him back, and you can hear the whispering of Sauron, and oh, dude, it's so good. Um, but I think for me, the kicker here, one of the things that I didn't see coming with the way they're playing fast and loose with the lore, is the fall of Eregion, because they're tying it into the actual lore in a way that's really interesting. So Galadriel got captured by Adar, right? And he wants to bring her in as an ally. And in the course of all of this, she sees the wisdom in this and agrees and tells him stuff like, "Elrond's coming with my ring. Together, you and your legion, we will kill Sauron." And he's like, "What then? Are the elves going to let us, is your High King going to let us return to Mordor and live in peace? Or is he going to pursue us, believing that we're still evil, even if we've taken out Sauron?" And she's like, she doesn't have an answer. And he's like, "Well, thanks for telling me the elves' plans. Here's my plan." And he opens up, shows her the forest, and there's legions of orcs, an entire army that are coming to kill Sauron. And then she realizes, oh, this is all part of his plan. He doesn't have an army. You're going to give it to him. You're going to march in there. He's going to take you out, and he's going to have an army of orcs at his command. And this is when I looked at it and went, oh, that's interesting, because I'm understanding a little bit better now who the Adar character is in the scope of this rising threat of Sauron arc. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload, or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Pretty cool. um, because because the fall of Eregion from the lore, um, yeah, Sauron kicks their ass. Like, it's not a good thing for the elves. And this begins, which I haven't quite. I would have to go back and watch Alfarazon's vision sequence again to kind of understand a little bit better what they're shooting for. Pretty sure at the end when he sees Halbrand and he realizes it's Sauron, he gets in his mind, we've got to go and get this guy and capture him. And I don't know what exactly he's got planned now, because this is after the queen is chosen once again as the leader and his plans have been dashed. I don't know if he's going to like sneakily ally himself with her and be like, please forgive me, queen, let me lead the armies. I don't know what's going to happen there. But the Adar thing, bringing the armies to Eregion and Sauron taking over, I appreciate what they've done with that arc. That's an interesting way to do it. And considering how this plays out, assuming they do it, and again, it's been a while since I've read stuff, but I'm very interested to see where this all leads by the end of this season. Because, yeah, spoiler alert, Celebrimbor doesn't make it, ladies and gentlemen. He ends up hung. It's been a while. We were talking about this on stream the other day. It's not good for him. And he has been doing the 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 performance for Celebrimbor has been my favorite this entire season. And Anatar's performance has been also very, very well done compared to Halbrand as a character. Because Halbrand was, you kind of got it that he was going to be bad, but here he's reveling in it. So, it's Sauron in all his glory, doing what he does best, which is seducing people. The scene in this episode where Celebrimbor basically brushes him off and he's like, I'm not going to do the rings. I hear siege alarms. I need to see what's going on in my kingdom. And he stops and like goes all like, and he has to use all of his power to create this massive illusion that everything's fine in Eregion, Lord Celebrimbor. Just go back to your tower. Here's a bunch of mithril. Here's a hammer, a special hammer. Go beat best Feanor. Become the legend. When you've finished, the Silmarils won't even be remembered anymore, because your rings of power will go down as legend. And he convinces him through the manipulation of his mind to go back to the tower and keep working on the nine. It's very interesting how this is all done. So I'm on board for it. I think that overall it's been a much more pleasurable ride than season one, and I gotta admit that this is really good storytelling. And I know that there are people out there who are like, no, it's not. There's less. They've had a drop off. Not that many people are watching compared to season one. You're not wrong. You're not. But I could also point to probably 50 shows in the next 90 seconds who have had season ones that were up here, seasons two that dropped, even seasons three that dropped before they came back up and had more, or got down to season 2 or 3, but then evened out and still continued on to the end, and gotten 5, 6, 7 seasons. They've openly committed to 5 seasons. So I am not one of those people who's like, it needs to burn, it needs to crash and burn, it needs to fail. No, it doesn't. It's been fun ride. Even if they have a lesser audience, I don't care. I'm being entertained, and I feel like a lot of the people who watched season 1 and got turned off because of some of the things they did with the lore, I think they would be genuinely surprised to see how they've course correct. I think they've course corrected brilliantly with Anatar, and there are other things that like the Harfoot story in this episode is so inconsequential that I'm just like whatever. And there was a bit with it's got to be Gandalf at this point. It has to be. Like they do a scene with Tom Bombadil where he literally quotes the whole, not everyone who deserves to die, you know, like the Moria speech. It's not up for us to decide. Um, not all who live deserve. It's all these. It's it's got to be Gandalf, but it's also I think that character's journey was there's just a little scene in there, and it just felt inconsequential to what's going on in Eregion, because the Eregion stuff is true to the books. And I'm telling you, if you were critical of season 1, that's fair, but season 2 is really, really good. I'm enjoying it. So I can't wait to see where they go with the rest of this season, and of course the whole arc that they're doing. I really hope they tie it in. It would be great if they tied it in with some cameos. I don't know if that'll happen, but it would be cool to think about. But we also have things like the Hunt for Gollum coming, and Gandalf. Ian McKellen's out there telling him, "Hurry up! I'm old. You want me to do it? We gotta go." All right, folks. We'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned. Happy watching. Cheers, everybody.